fighting game commentary. For every Evo Moment 37, Evo Moment 38, Bionic Arm comeback, Washige, what are you standing up for moment, and even a Undertaker-style entrance.
He's already on stage! Dominion!
There's always somebody on the microphone letting you, the viewer at home, know how hyped this is. And while there are plenty of conversation about people's favorite commentator, and there are tons of tutorials about how to climb the ranks of your favorite fighting game, there is not a lot of space in the discussion pool to talk about how an aspiring commentator can rank up in this space as well. Now, how did a new commentator like me end up in the booth for one of the largest fighting game tournaments in the United States? That's a good question. And a good question I'm looking to answer, and I think I have a few ideas. So, without further ado, let me explain. And also, let me get changed. Give me a moment. I think this looks better. Got it on sale right before the event. For those who don't know, FrostyFousting is a major fighting game tournament that takes place in Lombard, Illinois in January, meaning it's really cold. I'm from California. We don't know what snow looks like. If you have a fighting game of your choice, it's being offered by Frosty. If it's not, then you can find a community-ran event run by passionate fighting game players. There's lots of fights and fun to be had. According to Start.gg, 4,200 players descended at FrostyFousting. What I'm trying to say is, it's a big event. When I was granted with this gobsmacking, amazing opportunity, I had to ask myself two questions. Why me? How can I get this again? Being a little curious myself, I did an analysis for the 2026-2025 commentary rosters and see if there were any underlying trends that I could pick up. Also, I decided to speak to other people who are responsible for selecting commentary talent for the next event. What I'm trying to say is, if you're looking to commentate your next major, or wondering what exactly gets you the yes to start being in the booth, this is the video for you. With that said, let's get started. Alright. Just like with any piece of analysis, it always starts with data. And data, I got. Check it out.
Let's break down this methodology a little bit. This sheet breaks down the entire commentary team for FrostyFousting's 2025 and 2026, which were the only years I had full access to the roster. After logging in each name, I took a note if they had the following items. First, do they have a demo reel? How long the demo reel is? How many segments are in their demo reel? For the sake of argument, a segment is defined by me as any time the demo reel cuts to a new scene. This is just because that's the #1 way that we use the demo reel as a medium to showcase a number of games and skills. The next part I wanted to look at was how many segments a demo reel had per 30 seconds. This was just kind of a weird piece of analysis I wanted to try out, mainly to see if there was a numerical value we could trace to how a demo reel could feel slow or could feel fast. I also took note if the commentator had some sort of resume or online portfolio I could find, along with what years they worked at Frosty. And finally, just some miscellaneous notes that popped up. Afterwards, I split the sheet up into 3 segments: yellow, white, red. Yellow meant that they were a commentator that I could not find any extra information on online. Commentators in the white section were people I was able to locate on social media and at least had a demo reel. And finally, there's the red section. These were commentators with social media but lacked a demo reel.
Before we look at the initial findings of this list, I fully acknowledge the limitations of my analysis. Mainly, my Google Fu might not be as strong as it should be. Commentators where I can't find social media, resumes, or reels could be out there, I just suck at typing in the correct terms. Meanwhile, a missing demo reel and resume is not evidence of their absence. Commentators can be using unlisted videos and personal resumes that they paste right into the application form. These are important details to consider. I'll be sure to paste the link to this analysis sheet in the description of this video, so if you want to go ahead and do your own research, you're more than welcome to. With that, let's get to the numbers.
Looking at the entire spreadsheet with 101 unique entries over a 2-year span of Frosty Faustings, we see that the average demo reel is 3 minutes and 37 seconds, with 10 segments each and 1.46 segments per 30 seconds. However, what's even more important is that less than half of the total commentators accepted for Frosty Faustings have demo reels, and less than a third of total commentators have resumes.
So does that mean resumes and demo reels aren't as important as people say they are? Not quite. In order to see the explanation for this list, we gotta look back at the sheet, or specifically, the red section.
Let's look at that red section one more time. While there are some unknown entities and some local players, we also see some of the greatest voices in the industry in the red section. James Chen, Kai Kennedy, Tasty Steve, Tong, Yipes.
So what am I trying to say to my fellow commentator out there? Well, the deck is stacked. The Frosty Faustings application process is extremely competitive. And why not? It is one of the 3 biggest tournaments in the United States. After Evo, we have CEO, Combo Breaker, and Frosty Faustings. The tournament organizers want the best of the best, and the best of the best are reliable names, known names, and names that are so self-evident they don't really need to use the normal application process to be screened because we all know and love who they are. But wait, I got into Frosty Faustings, and I'm not James Chen or Tong, and as much as people say I look like Vicious, I don't exactly have his accolades. Well, there's one section on the sheet I kept hidden from you until this very moment. I think it's about time I show it to you.
When we isolate for only 2026 commentators, we see some astounding results. First of all, the average demo reel length is much lower, going at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. We see more segments and a denser reel with 1.75 segments per 30 seconds. However, when it comes to the portfolio, 44.44% of commentators have resumes and 55% of them have demo reels.
Talking to one of the Frosty Fausty commentators responsible for helping out the commentary team, they said when it comes to the selection process, there are 2 categories of commentator. 1, you've been in the commentary team before and you've proven yourself reliable and good so you get to come back. Or 2, you're brand new, in which case you're judged to see if you're entertaining, you don't say anything too crazy, and you know the game. What that means is, in the second category, as you notice for the Frosty commentators that came into 2026, the selection process is much more selective. You have to do a lot in your application to prove that you have what it takes to do well on the big stage. And that is all we need to be selected for a commentary team at your next fighting game major. Have a resume, have a good demo reel, cross your fingers and hope the gods select you. Almost. Question. Is this a good demo reel segment?
Put the target in the center and pull the switch! Reset! Reset!
Really able to make the most
Oh,
of it.
headshot! No, what was that?
Heads? Bushido blade? Bushido blade Viking style?
In order to answer that question, we have to understand Shoto reel theory. Come on, I'll show you. Okay, Shoto reel theory. In order to talk about what the Shoto reel is, we have to talk about the demo reel. A demo reel is one half of the equation when it comes to submitting your application. The 2 things you need to worry about are a resume and a demo reel. Let's briefly touch about the resume. A resume is a list of gigs that you have done showing what events you worked, what games you've done, and the placement, be it pools, top 16, top 8, etc., etc. If you want to show the breadth of your work, the resume is your friend. There's one disadvantage of the resume. It's not a curated story, which is why we have the demo reel. The demo reel is your resume, but in video form. Not only does a demo reel show the viewer where you've been, but it also is a living demonstration of how good your skills are. Remember the previous question I asked about, is this a good demo reel? In order to answer this, let's look at Shoto reel theory.
This is Ryu. He's a Shoto. Shotos are great beginner characters, and if you don't know the game, they're an excellent place to start. Why? Because they could use every single tool that the fighting game has. They have amazing buttons, projectiles, you could play them offensively, defensively, and the anti-airs. So many anti-airs. In short, playing the Shoto allows you to experience and demonstrate the fundamentals of the game.
All right, I'm ready.
When in the commentary booth, you're expected to face a number of challenges that extend beyond how well do you know the game. As such, when making a demo reel, you want to show the tournament organizer that you have the skills and capabilities to address as many of these needs as possible. You'll be expected to do an ad read, lead the stream, end the stream, and be able to expect the unexpected. In short, a really good demo reel is not just a bunch of hype moments and cool one-liners. Instead, we have to construct a demo reel that shows the tournament organizer that we have the skills necessary to address any challenge that comes our way and demonstrate that we have an understanding of the fundamentals of the craft. See a pattern? The reason why the example clip shown is not a good demo reel is because it only shows one aspect of commentary. In my personal guide to commentary, I talk about how your first demo reel should show all the key aspects of commentary in a well-balanced manner, aka making a Shoto reel. The important aspect of the Shoto reel is that we select clips based off of skills over hype. If you want to read more about the theory in depth, then feel free to click the link in the description.
One of the reasons why I stress that the Shoto reel should be one of the earliest demo reel formulas you follow, because as a new commentator, you don't know what skills in the commentary space you're really good at. Maybe you are the analysis person. Maybe you're the hype person. Maybe you're really good at banter. You wouldn't know until you try them all. The same can be said for fighting games. After you try a Shoto, maybe you want to try some other characters. Maybe you want to try a character that's a little bit more defensive. How about going full Rushdown? Or maybe there's this character with a really cool projectile that's some sort of charge move, or an anti-air that's some sort of crouching move. I don't know, I think this guy's the coolest. I think you should play him. Or maybe you just want to pick someone that makes me really mad. Bison! Sorry about that. But what do I know? I'm just one commentator in a sea of many. It's not like I could just ask the people who select commentators what they look for when picking talent. Maybe I can.
Hello, I'm CD Mangaka, the Mile High Burst TO based in Colorado, where I usually run events outside of Akihabara Arcade. I am a regional director as well for the Winter Showdown event that's hosted once a year at that particular venue.
Hey there, what's up? I'm Team Khris, the one and only, straight from Miami, going coast to coast all to do this. I've been commentating fighting games for over 10 years. Since about 2014, I got on the road, and it just never stopped. It just kept on going.
Hey, I'm Gummie. I do commentary for a lot of North Carolina events. Recently been reaching out to other events, regionals in pretty much everywhere in the States, going to the West Coast in a few months, but I don't know. I'm just a hometown commentator who's trying to use my words to make people laugh at home.
My name is Kevin Kapoor. I go by Kevin with a K. I've been commentating for like 9 or 10 years. I started with League of Legends, and then I came into the FGC and Smash space about 4 years ago. And I've recently, over the last year or year and a half, been a commentary manager in the Smash Ultimate space, hiring talent for regional, major events, etc.
What's up? I'm Ultra David, and I've been commentating since 2010 across like probably 30 or 40 different fighting games and hundreds of events. I don't know how many.
If you want to be accepted as a commentator for a major event, you have to show you have experience. And one of the best ways to get that experience is at regionals. The commentators that I spoke with are heavily involved in their local and regional scenes, and I wanted to ask them what it took for a newer commentator to get in the booth. Here's what they had to say.
Winter Showdown is the, I think, longest running regional in Colorado at this point. Again, hosted at Akihabara Arcade. It's a regional that usually breaks about 300 entrants every single year, and it's hosted inside the coolest Japanese-themed arcade bar in the entire country, I would argue. What's usually used as the finals venue for the Jazzy Circuit, a Street Fighter 3 Third Strike tour that is hosted yearly as well, but we've just finished doing a whole bunch of renovations to the place, so the venue has been opened up to have a lot more space. We've been able to add audio on every single setup with 16 wall-mounted monitors, with an experienced TO team that usually volunteers their resources and knowledge at various majors, such as Evo, to provide the best possible experience for various players.
The most recent event that I scouted for was Afterburner 2026. It was a major for Smash Ultimate in Indiana. I staffed for Smash Ultimate, Smash Melee, Rivals, and some FGC games as well. There's about 5 different streams, and I spent a lot of time on the applications and the schedule, sorting through and trying to find the talent that has worked consistently, recently, in-region ideally. For a lot of my roster, I try to find in-region talent, upcoming new local talent, as well as top-level talent that can help improve the up-and-comers.
So the event I scout for is SQXL and all SQ-related events. And truthfully, to me at least, what makes it special is not that it's a successful regional or that our first year was a blowout success. I would say that the people of North Carolina have wanted something, and I'm very happy to have delivered something that we can definitely say we're proud of, and something they're looking forward to on a yearly basis from now on.
Well, I'm part of the team that selects talent for events that Tenno runs. Usually it's not my sole decision, to be clear, but that's stuff that I've done with in the past. SNK World Championship a couple of years ago, we ran in Hollywood. We used to do weekly online events called ICFC that I helped select stuff for. Charity events called Fight for Rare I've helped select commentators for. I'm sure something that I'm not thinking about also.
Do a lot of Orlando tournaments, working with Juicy Monthly and Retro Revival, as well as SoFlo Dojo. Those are kind of my home teams kicking it. At the same time, Data FGC over in Atlanta and Texas Showdown. Those are kind of my neck of the woods over in the Southeast.
What I look for in a commentator, it tends to be how they sort of conduct themselves and what they generally look for. So I usually throw out applications where a person doesn't even give me a link to a video. Sometimes people might not have a reel ready yet because they might be just starting out in commentary and they haven't been able to put that time in for it. But if that's the case, I usually ask them to provide video links to like a YouTube VOD or a Twitch VOD with a timestamp and how they identify themselves so that I can clearly find out who they are and get a sense for how they sound.
I think consistency and willingness to learn, right? Because everybody can make their way into this, but just like playing a fighting game, everyone reaches that wall. I'm sure you have reached it. I reached it myself a while ago, and it could definitely be a slump and a slouch to get over. But I think given anyone putting in the work, those months of hard work and eventual projection letters, how they take it and whatnot, it builds character, and I think I just love seeing it. I love seeing consistency.
What I believe is the most important thing in commentary, which is authenticity. I think that matters so much more than performativeness or even in some degrees cleanliness, even though I would consider that a fundamental. So those are the things that matter the most to me, alongside consistency and experience.
You can commentate your local or your local regional or even just an online bracket consistently. That tells a lot about me, or that says a lot about you, I'm sorry, to me, that this person, A, really likes their game, and B, they just keep putting in the work. So I think, too, also a commentary reel. That's pretty important as well.
A lot of people can be exciting and stuff, that's great, it's a really important part of it, but in a scene like this that is really dedicated to like the fine details of games, I want to select from the list of excitable and exciting commentators, those commentators who also know a lot.
Some reels I've seen are kind of one note in nature where a person is just sharing hype moment after hype moment, and I don't get to see any sort of depth to their commentary. I don't get to see them when there's a lull in the moment and they may be being a little more analytical, or I don't get to see how they try to do some synergy with a partner or any sort of specific game knowledge where it's like, hey, they're talking about a game in a way where they're trying to break it down and explain it at a higher level of understanding.
When I'm picking a newer commentator, the things that matter the most to me are understanding how to work with somebody else in front of a camera, and this could be avoiding getting nervous, this could be making sure that you are, like I mentioned, doing handoffs very well with your co-caster.
One of the things that win me over when I see from other commentators is a case of pacing and spacing. sometimes I've had great blocks with people who weren't as knowledgeable about the game, but they had good presence and they were able to bring out more out of the other person. And also just game knowledge of things you're looking for. You're able to pull it out and bring it into the forefront and make it special. I think a few instances I've had where people jump in from other games and everything, but because of their polish and their presentation skills, they're able to make it just a really fun conversation that can get the most out of each other. And I try to look at commentators who can really look for getting that kind of chemistry and just building it up and just making the stream fun. Because if it's fun for me, it's going to be fun for the viewers.
But oftentimes too, it comes down to like breadth of experience, right? Because a lot of the times for my big games, as it is, I get a lot of people who want to commentate on Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. For Winter Showdown, for example, out of the 20-some-odd applicants I had, maybe 16 of them listed Street Fighter or Tekken in some way. And I can only pick so many commentators for those blocks. So I tend to look at players who have a broader pool of games that they can talk about, especially when it comes to some of my smaller titles that I desperately need coverage for at these regional events. So pretty much if someone pulls up and they say, hey, I want to commentate BlazBlue, cool, you're one of 2 guys that said that, you're probably going to get the final spot for that.
The thing that matters the most to me is recent commentary experience, especially if you have regional or higher commentary experience within the last few months. I want to see recency for consistency's sake and for community involvement's sake, to know that you are still not only relevant to what will be shown on the camera, but that you care about what's coming forth.
I need somebody who's credible, and people who have played well in the games themselves are credible. That's not necessary. I don't need somebody who's won a tournament to commentate, but if that were to be on somebody's commentary application, I would think, aha, this person knows what they're talking about.
Commentary is hard, but it's something that we don't have to do by ourselves. I only got this far in my career thanks to having so much help from partners, stream runners, and event leads. So I really hope the tips shared in this video on how to best represent yourself in the application form and in the booth will help you when you want to work your next FGC event. I also want to thank Gummie, Team Khris, Kevin with a K, Seeded Mangaka, and Ultra David. These are all really cool people and you should follow them when you get a chance. Well, this is Captain No Fun signing off for duty. Keep on yapping and I'll see you next time.